Hello, everyone. Welcome to my...
Who's the host of this podcast? Hello, friends. Welcome to Much Review About Nothing. His name might be Artemis Fowl, but this movie is for the birds. See? I can be a professional movie critic. Hire me. I'm available. On this podcast, we review a movie we haven't seen through cultural osmosis and what we can find on the internet. I'm your host, Billy Greer.
And we're your co-hosts, Jake Greer and
Luke Greer.
Let's don't watch a movie.
That joke was rather foul, if I do say so myself.
I was about to make that same joke. Because the only joke that's there.
This is the level of comedy on this podcast. But to be fair, like I said, this is the kind of jokes that critics make all the time when reviewing films.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm just a professional critic.
Even just a layman reviewer off the streets is using that joke all the time,
I mean,
alright? It's the only joke you can make with this movie.
It's a very foul joke.
Yeah, but I mixed it up a bit. I didn't just go with the whole it's
Right.
foul. I threw in for the birds, which is related to foul. So I'm slightly less of a hack. Still a hack, but you know.
You're a foul hack.
That's not gonna get old.
Yeah. So this time on inspection, we have some things to talk about. I'm calling Billy out. I warned you about this.
Oh, no.
Last time, you were slandering the podcast, saying it was a stupid idea, it was a terrible idea, that it doesn't work. And I want you to apologize because this is the greatest idea of all time. Our fans love us, all 30 of them, all right? And they were very sad when they heard that. They didn't get in contact with me, I just assume.
Well, okay. I will apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry your mom smoked crack while she was pregnant.
That joke's not going to translate well.
Why not?
No. It's kind of an inside joke.
That's funny.
It can still be used, though, in outside context.
Look.
Why don't you explain to the folks at home the joke?
Yeah, this is another great part of this brilliant podcast where we explain the jokes we make. Okay, but in my defense, this is a very silly, dumb podcast, but that's the charm. That's why people like it. Me pointing that out doesn't detract from it because everybody already knows that, so I don't have to apologize.
All right, fine. I accept your non-apology.
I'm a classic YouTuber non-apology.
Yes.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Jay.
Okay. I feel much better now.
No, you didn't do the classic YouTuber apology because you didn't let out a giant sigh before going into your, non-apology.
Sigh,
Sob pathetically.
maybe cry, have a dog in the background.
It just needs to be like this. Guys,
I messed up. I'm sorry.
Some of you who are too stupid to get the joke I made were offended.
Yeah. Look, I'm so sorry we recorded that dead body in the background of the podcast. It was very distasteful.
I don't know how you guys figured it out, but man, you guys are really smart.
I wish that the people who made Artemis Fowl would just get on and they do an interview, but it's just them. They go,
Guys, we're sorry.
"We're sorry you did not find the movie we made enjoyable."
So the second part of introspection inspection is we're going to talk about cats.
Yeah.
Because we saw it.
Holy cow. Holy cow. I didn't even know if this should be its own episode because...
Did you want to as bonus content? Us just talking about it?
We might, but...
Talk about the film we've already seen, like an actual movie podcast.
Yeah.
Like a good one.
But that would just go on our Patreon, so most people wouldn't hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could just give kind of our basic thoughts.
Well, I mean, you had a great term for it if you want to go ahead and give it.
What is it, like artistic terrorism?
Yeah, that is it. I think that about sums up the movie.
Yeah, because everyone was so distracted by like the poor visuals, we didn't actually think about the content of the film and just how badly they handled the musical aspects.
Yeah, I mean, everything about it was wrong.
It has the worst version of Mr. Mistopheles I've ever heard.
It's pretty bad.
That's when I completely turned on the film. Before then, it was a punishing experience. But it was also entertaining because it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. But once they botched Mr. Mistopheles, I was gone. I was calling for the deaths of the director and the actors, and like things got bad in that watch room.
Well, I mean, at one point we blanked out, and just on the walls in like red, I don't know where it came from, was just look at the ears, look at the ears. So I'm not sure what happened there. It was ultimately an eldritch abomination.
Yeah,
the ending was terrible because you just have Judi Dench looking at you, just like reciting a poem, essentially.
Well, that's how it ends, the actual play.
Right, but in this case...
does not translate well.
In a movie, it's really jarring.
Because I think we should do maybe a follow-up episode and like list the cats from most disturbing to least disturbing.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
I mean, spoiler alert, Judi Dench cat is the most terrifying thing I have seen in a long time.
Who was Judi Dench?
Deuteronomy, the gender.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well,
I don't know actors'
It's related
names well.
as well.
Yeah, they did the same thing in the Artemis Fowl, which is the movie we're talking about today.
So we'll leave cats where it is. We might come back to it in a special thing.
Yeah, and I guess the other final thing, shout out to Ian McKellen for being, the one bright spot in that travesty. Because, like, Gus the Theater Cat, in the actual play, probably one of my least favorite songs, like, even under Memory, which isn't horrible, but... Then, all of a sudden, Gus the Theater Cat is my favorite song in the movie. Because it's the only part that feels like a genuine performance by kind of a human.
Yeah.
Because he's, like, the least mutilated. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
The highest face underneath a lot of scuffy fur. So.
Yeah, but it still looks like Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
So, and he's always a class act.
All right. Well, that's it for introspection inspection.
Yeah.
Let's get into our subject matter, which, like you said, is Artemis Fowl.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that like to dislike ratio. That is not...
Yeah, we have the trailer up. I wondered why they didn't do this film when there was that big YA craze in the early to mid 2000s. I feel like they've missed the boat, so to speak.
Yeah. They also missed the mark.
They missed everything.
Quite far. It just seems like... I mean, it's barely an adaptation, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah,
from what I've heard.
It's one of those mutilated adaptations where they used to do this for some reason, when they would like cram several books together and steal characters from various books and make this hodgepodge.
Yeah, or just not even follow the story at all.
Yeah, which is weird because I thought Hollywood had kind of evolved beyond that because they started to see how lucrative it is to just do a book, a movie, and then you can go for a long time and follow the series and you don't have to have a trilogy anymore. You can have a whole franchise.
Oh, I know.
You'd think they would want to capitalize on that, but I thought Hollywood just devolves. Like just when I think they've got it, some dude in a boardroom's like, no, let's go back to the stupid way of doing things. But we ruined everything for some reason. I don't understand it.
Do we want to watch the trailer and jump into dynamic discussion?
Yeah, we may as well just go ahead and get into it. Trailer is over.
Get out of here before it plays the next video.
So there's a lot to unpack there, knowing what I know about the Artemis Fowl series, which I know mainly just from reading up on it. I haven't actually read the books myself.
I used to read them pretty religiously. Like I was a big fan. I can't remember where I dropped off, but I know I at least read like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
I just saw the book covers and went, I wonder what this is about.
So goblin discombobulate.
Yeah, that was a weird part because it's Josh Gad, who for me is kind of turning into another James Corden, where when I see him, I just want to put my hands around his neck, which I couldn't do because his neck is fused with his torso and his head. So
But yeah, goblin discombobulate.
Discombobulate.
And then I think a con to counter that, giant dwarf.
To be fair, I believe that's in the book. He's an oversized dwarf. I can't even remember when the dwarf comes in. I don't remember if he's in the first book. He might be.
It's either one who unhinges his jaw like a snake and eats
I
dirt.
thought that's what I was going to show you guys. I was going to show you the clip of the dwarf doing what he do. It's like Cat's level of terrifying. But yeah, that scene where Josh Gad the dwarf he discombobulates the goblin, the goblin just looks like a mannequin that he slaps on the side of the face. That is the weirdest little shot. Every time we watch a trailer, it seems like we find this one little weird thing to hone in on. Because I guess that CGI, it's a complicated thing, and it's hard to do right. And there are so many little ways it could go wrong.
And also, like, he's not really Artemis Fowl, at least from the book.
Yeah, they've completely, like, neutered and altered Artemis Fowl's character because they're acting like he's not fully aware that the fairies are real, but he knows that. Like, he learns that. He's a very self-driven character.
Yeah.
He doesn't need his dad to teach him. I feel like his dad's barely...
His dad's not even in it in the book, barely.
No, he's in, like, the second one, I think, where they do have to rescue him. But, like, I don't even know if he has that great of a relationship with his dad. And Artemis Fowl is a great character because he's a villainous jerk.
Right.
It's a series that kind of focuses on who would characteristically be the main villain, or someone like that. But the whole point is that Artemis Fowl, while interacting with the fairies and stuff, he gradually becomes a better person over time. But, like, in the first one, he's like, I think he was purely motivated by greed. I think he's trying to, like, steal the fairy gold or something like that.
Yeah, he captures Holly Short and ransoms her, basically.
Is her name Holly Short? Who am I? Holly, that sounds like an actress.
It does.
He captured the actress.
He captures Holly Hunter and keeps her locked up. I'm not a fairy.
It is Holly Short.
Oh, it is Holly
Also,
Short? Okay.
I looked it up in the wiki, and Mulch Diggums is just regular dwarf.
Oh, I thought he was...
No, they did that for the movie.
They cheated. They were just like, we want to just cast Josh
That's
Gad.
why I think it's a con.
Yeah, it is a con.
Because they didn't commit.
Yeah.
That's really the problem.
Dumb. They could have hired a small person. They not progressive at all.
Faked a big dwarf. It's a false flag giant dwarf. That is so lame. They're like, I don't want to pay for the CGI or the...
I don't want to get a double.
The little person double, yeah. Let's just...
Or the perspectives like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I don't want to put work. Let's just say Josh Gad's a big dwarf.
I mean, that basically sums up the problem with Artemis Fowl is giant dwarf. I think that
that sums it up.
Yeah.
The epitome of laziness.
Yeah.
Because, kind of going into adaptations... If you do not keep the spirit of the adaptation, there is no point in doing it in the first place. That's really it. And, like, I would say at times it's harder to do a book adaptation, way harder than just writing out something that is meant for movies, basically.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of thought and effort, which obviously they did not put in at all, to make this.
Oh, yeah, you gotta cut down that book.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta trim the fat. Like, Lord of the Rings is amazing if you haven't watched the documentary. It's just how much pre-production they went into, and all that, and
because they care, because Peter Jackson didn't go and go, oh, they're just tall hobbits.
They're all tall.
I mean, it's what he did with The Hobbit, unfortunately, or at least that's what the studio did. I don't blame Peter Jackson for The Hobbit.
No, he got a raw deal.
Well, Peter Jackson didn't want to do The Hobbit.
I know.
He got Shanghai back into it.
Yeah, I mean, it was really the studio at fault for that one. But that's also another poor adaptation, So
I just imagine Peter Jackson going, no, these hobbits, they're tall, and Legolas has rounded ears.
He's a short, the short elves, short wizards, short humans, and tall hobbits. That's why it equalizes.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Hobbit series, it's extremely flawed, but it has its charm just because Peter Jackson loves that world, and he's always going to give it even a worse version. He's going to give 110%. But yeah, I feel like it is kind of parallel with. They just rushed it. It just goes back to they didn't care. And
didn't the initial guy botch it up?
Who? The Hobbit?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Didn't they have someone else before Peter Jackson?
Yeah,
there was just a lot of production problems with Hobbit. But
we're not talking about the
back
Hobbit.
to Artemis Fowl. It just seems like these producers, they're just like, what was popular at one time? Oh, Artemis Fowl. Let's do that. We'll just throw it to some director.
It's basically what license can we get at bargain?
I mean, I guess he was just in it for the money, the writer of Artemis Fowl. I mean, I can't blame him for it. It's just like, hey.
But wait, I have a question. If Artemis was initially doing it for the money,
Yes.
doesn't that mean the producers who made this, who were also doing it for the money, are also carrying the spirit of the original Artemis Fowl?
Well, see, that's a good point, but like that spirit apparently did not translate to the screen.
Well, no, they took that spirit and milked it for all it's worth.
The producers and stuff read the books and like, this is a great mentality to have.
Yeah.
That's not included in the movie, but we're going to adopt it. So this is the only movie that has been adapted by the people in the behind the scenes factor.
That's a pro. You know?
Yeah.
At a meta level.
Yeah, adapted by everyone.
Corporate chills.
Adapted by corporate side. Should that even be the pros? I feel like that's a con.
I think it's a pro con.
Yeah, it's a pro con. Just because
It did get adapted properly, just in the wrong sphere.
Yeah,
Yes.
adapted properly by the corporate side.
Because having an anti-hero or just a villain protagonist is always cool. It's always different, you know, and it gives you a different side. But I think even like the director was like, well, we didn't want a villain protagonist because, you know, the kids wouldn't like it, or I didn't want to do it.
Maybe
you
they
know?
were hesitant to do it because Artemis Fowl is a kid. And I'm like, oh, you can't have a kid.
Well, that was I think their main issue.
Children aren't evil, cruel, and vindictive.
Yeah. It really makes me sad because it's Kenneth Branagh who directed this film. He used to do those great Shakespeare adaptations. He was Hamlet, and he directed Hamlet.
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh,
Yeah,
I love that guy.
He's become... I mean, I guess he's just like... He's at a point in his career, he just does it for the money, mainly. He still gets to do his craft, so to speak, but he doesn't really care so much about what he's making.
Right.
And it's really sad because he's kind of just become one of those shill journeyman directors where he's like, oh yeah, I'll direct your Thor, I'll direct your, Artemis Fowl, Disney, he's become a Disney pawn.
Just
realized.
tell me what to do. I don't really care. You know?
I love this voice we're giving him. It's like
And this British guy now speaks like an Italian-American gangster.
Disney, give me the script, eh?
I don't care, just give me the money, please. I'll direct whatever you want.
It's hard to fault him, though.
Nah, give me the money.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I can't blame him for chasing the money, and that's basically all they have at this point. They don't have any,
Artistic spirit or
creativity or integrity. They have mountains of cash, and that's what makes the world go around.
135 million, something like that.
For the movie?
Yeah, to create the movie.
Holy!
I think 125. I'm sorry, I was off by 10 million.
I know not to keep going back to Cats, but just that movie really several movies have done this, but that was another movie that just made me lose all faith in Hollywood or the entertainment industry because I feel like we've reached this point where no one cares about anything they're doing. They just want to spend money.
Yeah, Cats was 95 million. And somehow they're comparable in quality. So no matter how much money you throw at a movie, you're not going to get anything good.
No,
or it doesn't...
It's all about what that money does.
What's with the muted colors of that Artemis Fowl movie? I noticed that in the trailer it was all muted and dark. Instead with Zack Snyder sneak in and fiddle the knobs a bit.
Well, they were trying to give a particular aesthetic, especially for the trailer, for the world. I could
it
see...
just looks so wet to me.
I can see how it could work, but the problem is it's not... It has no edge. That's really the problem with this movie. It has no edge whatsoever. I mean, you can go too far with the edge, but this one is just, it's a dull blade,
I mean, no one cared.
Yeah.
It was just, let's just film this.
Because
I guess we'll go kind of dark. But
is a nerd. He's a dweeb. He's incredibly intelligent, but he's not active.
No, that's why he has a big bodyguard and he uses other people to fulfill his goals.
He's a mastermind.
Yeah.
He's like a James Bond villain.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the thesis is what if a James Bond villain went up against fairy tale creatures? And it's a cool premise.
That's really cool.
And the books are good, from what I remember. But, I don't know, it's just like they ripped the soul out of it completely. And I know we complain about this a lot, but I don't know what gives a movie soul. I don't know if it literally is just whoever's working on it cares and lavishes that care on it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, adaptations are special as well because you have something directly to compare it to. Mm-hmm. And if it falls so short, then there's no question. Because I feel like I haven't read all the Harry Potter books, but Correct me if I'm wrong.
have.
I feel like the at least the movies are good enough. They're acceptable for the book series.
The movies are engaging, and they capture all the best parts of the books.
Right. In fact, I would say the Lord of the Rings series is better than the books because it cuts out way. And that's I think the only particular to Lord of the Rings because J.R.R. Tolkien he just wrote a ton.
Well, yeah,
visionary.
he overwrites.
So cutting out all that fat really just made a better story. In my opinion.
because Peter Jackson basically just handpicked all the coolest parts and strung them together. And he cut out like the 9 years of hiking that exist.
I mean, if we, I'm going to say this: if Peter Jackson did string all the cool bits together, then how come there wasn't a Tom Bombadil?
Fair point. Oh, please, thank you, Peter Jackson, for not including Tom Bombadil.
How much wrong with Tom Bombadil? We got yellow boots and a hot wife.
Only that he's in like 5 chapters and he's just singing. And
But he saved them from Old Man Willow and gave them the barrow daggers.
Yeah.
Back to Artemis Fowl, they changed some things. So his mom, who later goes insane or whatever, she's dead.
Oh, they just killed her.
They just kill her.
Yeah, I don't understand that lack of foresight.
So calling mom death.
Mom death. Because it's like, we want this to be a franchise. Obviously, that's all that movies are written for nowadays is for the next movie.
Right.
They don't care about the movie they're currently making.
Yeah.
But even still, they totally chop off all these avenues and use up future material.
Yeah, they just.
I want to say that mom death is not a Disney movie unless a parent dies or both.
Well, we've decided on the podcast that we are against parental death.
Yeah.
We think there's better ways to handle it most of the time. There may be occasions where parental death is okay.
Can we have a Disney movie where the parent doesn't die, but the dad's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go buy a pack of smokes,"
And then he just vanishes.
and no one brings him up ever again.
Yeah, well, I mean, if anyone can provide a great argument as to why parents should die, then email it to us. I think I could come around and be pro-parent death, but for now, we are saying that parental death is a con.
Wife death is kind of okay because a lot of times there's it's the impetus for the story or the start of the impetus for the story.
What about Batman?
Like Up. Yeah, Batman's a good example of a parental death being good for the story.
Yeah, so I guess
so there are exceptions, but in this case, we think it's poor because later on the mom's such an integral character. So now I guess they'll replace it with the dad. That doesn't make much sense to me.
Which he's the one they got to save this time. But so I guess another con I was kind of talking about it is that movies are only created so they can spawn another movie or.
Right. Although I don't know if this one will.
No, there's no way it will. But that was I've read people saying that was clearly the intention is to set up another franchise. This movie only made for next movie. I don't know.
They call those sequels, Billy.
I know, but I wanted to put it in a dumber way.
Okay, you convinced me.
It's got to be much review about nothing quality.
Yes.
Do we want to get into an article or something? Or
yeah, I guess I grabbed one that I thought we could go through, and it kind of breaks down the differences between.
Are there any bird puns in
the
it?
film? I don't know. Probably the film and the novels.
Everything. All right, we're done.
Yeah.
And while I haven't read the books, the reason I really hate the movie is because I like the idea of a villain protagonist. I always do.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. It's why I like the Joker. It's why in our Patreon, it's why I like Reverend Insanities because
Jake is at his core a human being,
which is a cultivation novel. Which you'll have to watch that episode on our Patreon to figure out what that's all about.
It's free.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, no, I've always liked that too. I've always liked it when a movie says, we're not going to do just the traditional narrative with traditional characters. Let's flip the script.
Let's have a giant dwarf.
That's why I like it.
That's why I like that so much.
That's why I like Infinity War as well, because I feel like that's almost our protagonist is Thanos almost.
Yeah,
so.
No, he is. And I don't know what that says about me, where I prefer Infinity War over Endgame.
Oh yeah, a big time. In fact, if I end with Infinity War, I would just cut off Endgame.
I'm weirdly okay with it. Like, half the universe is wiped out. I'm like, he did a good job. He did his goal.
He did his goal.
Yeah.
Well, it's just
set out to do.
Because in terms of storytelling, I'm looking for something so different from the norm.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something that'll interest me, and that's what I'm always looking for in movies. It's something that's really different.
Okay, so back to the article from Slate. It says that the script by Connor McPherson and Hamish McCall waters down Culfer's multi-layered world of morally complex characters into something more traditional and Disney-friendly, and in doing so misses the point of the entire series, which always avoided giving Artemis a classic redemption story. We've rounded up the changes from the banal to the bizarre below. And it was like what you said, I never understand that idea of, well, we want to adapt this, but we want to do it in a way where we totally miss the point of the entire franchise, you know?
Yeah, it's different if you say, oh, I'm going to do an Artemis Fowl-inspired world and do my own thing. That's totally different and totally fine if you want to take inspiration from things.
Yeah.
But don't adapt something and then just change the core for no reason at all.
Well, no, but we got to have the name.
Oh, okay, yeah.
People won't buy it unless we slap a name on it.
That's the thing. Hollywood's still not figured out that you got to have more than this stupid name to get people to watch your movie.
It's like with cats. They're sticking all these these famous actors, you know?
Yeah,
If they stick their faces on these horrid cat beings, people will come in droves to watch it.
Oh, boy. Okay, so first change, they changed how the narration works. The movie is mostly narrated in flashback by Mulch Diggums.
Yeah, Mulch Diggums for some reason.
Yeah, Josh Gad, the dirt-eating dwarf. He's been captured by MI-16, and he's telling the whole thing in third person.
Also, in the reviews, he's telling them things he would have no knowledge of as well. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a pro or con, but Mulch Diggums is actually, you know, I think he might be a god in the series. He's omnipotent,
He's also a giant dwarf.
omnipresent. Yeah. It would make sense. So, I don't know where we would have put that. It's just to know that Josh Gad, he's a god dwarf.
God, he's not only giant, he's also has forbidden knowledge.
Yes.
I don't know
He
where
sees
to put
all.
that.
You can just write a little note that says Josh Gad.
Josh Gad sees all.
Not don't.
I wrote Josh God.
Well, there we go.
Josh God sees all.
It's not Mulch Diggums as well. It's the actor.
He had to change his last name, so he just replaced the O with an A.
Yeah. So Josh Gad or Josh God is an actual god. So
I guess that's why I
that's why they got him.
my rage when I see him is more not anger but fear of what he could do to me, and I
Primal fear.
I feel small and impotent.
They couldn't keep him out of the movie. In
No,
fact,
He floated in there as like, I'm a tall dwarf. They're like, yes, whatever you say.
I'm gonna do the narration. Okay.
maybe James Corden is the same way. There's like these powerful actors, you can't keep them out of your movie. They just emerge and they're in your film, and you just have to go with it. Otherwise, you'll be punished.
Now the big question is, who would win in a fight, Josh Gad or James Corden?
No matter who wins, we lose.
Oh, okay.
Well, I feel like it would just create a singularity.
No, I think they'll fight, and then, what was it, Corden?
Yeah.
Will grab Josh God by the throat, and Josh God will say Martha.
It's funny you say that. We're going to talk about the Martha problem later on.
Oh, wow.
They're what?
I just want to break down in our brilliant podcast. We're going to explain for the folks at home how the joke worked here. Is that
Explain to the folks.
because of this problem with the story, Jake attached the concept of godlike abilities to the actor.
Yes.
For no reason, and we just went on a tangent for it. I just wanted to break down for the folks at home how that happened. There's no reason those series of jokes should have existed, but they were quite good, so I'm fine with
Well,
it.
it started when you wrote Josh God.
Well, that furthered it.
We weren't calling him Mulch Diggums, we were calling him by his actor's name.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how the sausage gets made here on this
A
podcast.
little behind the scenes.
Yeah. Okay. So the narration, the Fowl household.
I'm sorry.
Fowl.
Very appropriate.
Yeah, that name really only works as a title. If you try to use it in any other context,
I'm with
it's
the
sort of-
Fowl family. Well, you are. They're cussing our heads off.
Yeah. So in the book, he's already leading the criminal enterprise. His dad's already presumed dead.
In the movie, it's not a criminal enterprise. He's basically the Men in Black.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what it feels
And they
more
didn't
like.
learn their lesson with the reboot of Men in Black.
They feel exactly the same. The reboot of Men in Black and this movie are almost exact. They have that same feeling from the
I
trailer.
think you have suits too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's
And you have magic weapons. And
Yeah,
it's almost the exact same feeling you get.
the
when you watch
real
both.
floaty battles and the super like cartoonish looking CGI.
Yeah.
I can see the parallels. Yeah, so he starts off with his dad as we've established. Butler is like in his bodyguard, whose name is Butler, and is a butler kind of, he's Eurasian. In
Right,
the book.
he's like Russian type Asian
Yeah,
type because
We can't have Eurasians in films anymore unless they're the bad guys.
why these prejudices Eurasians?
It's not me.
Yeah, no, not you. I'm talking about why is Hollywood like that?
I don't know.
Hey, well,
And-
Russians have always been bad guys. You can't have them be a good guy.
And in the movie, they give him a niece named Juliet Butler. But it's in the books, it's his sister. And
Right.
she's also an adult who's like training to be a bodyguard like him. I remember her in one of the books.
Yeah.
Taking her exam.
Are there like any like?
But she's like a child in
Are
this.
there any female love interests in this in the book?
I don't know. I mean,
It's not really the point of the story.
No.
Well, no. But I was just asking because there's not. Maybe that's why they made her the niece. And
oh, is she going to be a... I don't know.
In the future? Well, I mean, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not gonna happen. I'm just saying.
Well, I feel like they're like, it's for kids. We need more kids in this. You know, kids like kids always.
Yeah, I mean, him saving his dad changes his motivations. It gives him a heroic motivation.
Right, he's a hero. He's a classic hero in this. It's what they wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wanted it, but they wanted it.
I noticed that Hollywood tends to make traditional heroic heroes into gray anti-heroes, and then they make anti-heroes into traditional. Like you have Superman, who's kind of Zack Snyder made him darker, and then over here you have Artemis Fowl, who's
Well, that's because Hollywood is full of hacks who think, no, my version will be better.
Well, it's because it's the classic.
Dark Superman, it's blowing my mind. Whoa.
What if Superman was a bad guy? I mean, there's always been like 500 comic book stories that dealt with that problem. But what if he was evil?
I think your dad is Superman.
Well, it's a human nature to always want to be different than anybody else, basically. And by it, they then make it the same as everything else. So it's very ironic.
Yeah, and so then going to the fantasy side of things, for some reason they changed Commander Root to a woman for Judi Dench in yet another traditionally male
Judi
role.
Dench, she's everywhere.
I
I know. Well, she's a curse upon. She's another.
She's another god actor that takes over movies.
She's a curse upon them.
Yeah.
She might actually just be a witch or something. That's what I think.
Well, that's kind of mean to Judi Dench.
Well, not in that sense. I meant magical.
Yeah.
Like some producer or director
Jake, they're called wise women. That's the good witch.
and insulted her, so she put a curse upon certain movies that she appears in.
Which that kind of ruins Holly's backstory because she's like the first female
the Force
leprechaun member.
What?
It's called It's an acronym. It's LEPR. LEP Recon. So
so leprechaun.
Recon. It's a pun.
Yeah, it's a good pun.
Yeah, it's good.
That is better than like.
But yeah, I
the
love
bird
how
ones.
the strong female character is completely ruined because
Undermined by
we gave this role to Judi Dench.
Yeah. I don't understand why they
Were
keep
they
doing
even
that.
trying to make a sequel? I mean, I'm hearing all this, and it's like they're cutting off their nose to spite their face.
Well, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're saying.
Maybe Kenneth Branagh is like he hate directs. Like he's like, I'm gonna show Disney that how bad a movie
He's
I
an
can
inside. He's a mole.
make. Yeah.
He's sabotaging their movies.
Yeah, like he's fed up with the Hollywood Disney system, so he makes the worst garbage.
He's trying to nuke it from the inside.
Yeah, he's like the Joker. You get what you blank and deserve. You know, I will make the movies you want, and I will make them as horribly as possible, and you will still want me to make them because you're so bankrupt in terms of creativity.
Well, if that's what he's doing, Godspeed, Kenneth.
Yeah.
Why are you burning my
They're
money?
pro.
I'm only burning my half.
Branagh is a secret, is a double agent.
And
I don't know what to call it.
CGI, computers, relatively cheap.
Maybe Luke's right. Maybe he's not doing it for some good goal, or he just hates Disney. He just likes chaos.
Branagh is an agent of chaos. There we go.
Yeah.
Agent of chaos.
Gasoline.
Everything burns.
Burns.
What are you writing? Script. Has a big dwarf in it.
Little Hamlet reference there for you.
What do you read, my lord?
Words.
Okay, yeah, so they ruin Holly. She becomes friends with Artemis, or she is friends from the start or something.
Yeah, I think
They
like
didn't. She hates Artemis, at least at first. They become
Right.
like uneasy allies later on.
I think he captures her or something.
Yeah, he
then,
does.
Then later she hits him once and says, "Oh, now I can trust you," or some stupid like that. It's like
What, in the movie or in the book?
in the movie.
Oh.
No, in the book he ransoms her off for gold.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's right. He captured her in order to get their gold.
yeah.
He's such a Chad in the
'Cause
books.
He is. He's the 12-year-old Chad.
Yeah. Well, he's a 12-year-old genius who wants prestige and like he's trying to recover his family name basically. Because
Yeah.
then they've fallen down a bit. So like he discovers a book and he deciphers it, realizes there's fairy and that they got tons of gold. So
Because the I don't know how they've changed it, but the first book is pretty cool because it's almost like a bottle incident where it takes place mainly in the mansion and it's like a siege where all the fairies are trying to get in and Artemis is trying to fight them off, and there is a troll and stuff. But
I have a question. What do fairies use gold for?
I don't. They
they
their
just
own
have it.
civilization.
Do they have like little economy, little fairy
Yeah.
malls?
Yeah,
and-
like there's a secret world. It's called the
Oh, okay.
Underworld.
I was just curious. What-
These aren't like
Maybe I'm thinking, are they big fairies and stuff?
I want to say
Are they
they're
relatively
bigger
large
than, I want to
size?
say yeah, they're
Because when
bigger
you say
than normal.
fairy,
Yeah.
I think of a small pixie creature.
Well, and two, I'm talking about fairies in the general like
like fae.
yeah,
yeah,
fair.
like I'm a medieval Englishman, and that's how I refer to
they're-
every
look,
fantasy creature.
they're in Ireland.
Okay, so yeah, they would be man. No, wait,
Well, it's
that's
just
Nordic.
it's general.
Well, this is-
it's general fae.
Yeah.
You know, I think the fairies are large, or at least like she.
That's what
They're at least like
because,
child
elvish.
size,
because English Ireland fairies were small.
Yeah, but this isn't. This just takes the classic tropes and does whatever it wants with
So
it.
I was just curious: are the fairies big or are they?
Yeah, they're relatively human
size?
size. They're
Okay,
not, they're not
that
like
makes
the
more
same
sense.
size, I don't think, but they're not like
They're not teeny
5
tiny.
inches tall.
Well, I mean, I
They're
was
not-
getting this cool vision in my head of Artemis Fowl having to fight these small creatures that were like using these tactics to try and bring him down.
No,
You
see,
know?
the in this franchise, the fairy creatures they're relatively like advanced, and they kind
Right.
of have their own society and technology.
They're a little bit
Okay.
more advanced than us, I think.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
too far, but you know,
So
far
they
enough.
do have a use for the gold. Okay,
Right,
Yeah.
and they got a ton of dwarves who unhinge their jaws like a snake.
Does that happen in the book?
I think so.
I did not remember that, but that
Oh,
does not
I don't-
translate to.
I don't know.
It may. It's been so long since I've read them, but it is visually does not translate, and I want to show you guys that here in a sec.
Okay, please
dwarves-
do.
I mean, what's so wrong with making dwarves just bring out and dig like normal things with tools? Why they gotta eat it?
As long as they're normal sized, human sized, giant.
Yeah, Holly and Artemis are not as chummy in the books. They're in the movie, and they gave him this weird dad connection, and that's the whole Martha thing. Like I've heard they have like a Martha moment where it's like you have a dad too. I also have a dad. I don't know the context, but it may be something else to it.
You
but
have a parental unit?
Yeah.
I have a parental unit. Let's be friends. Then what are they like? I mean, Artemis Fowl is like 12, but like, what are they both like 7? It's like
You have a wooden train. I like wooden trains. Let's be best friends.
yeah, it was just
well, I
simple
feel
as
like
that.
Holly is probably way older than Artemis because she's a fairy.
Yeah, she's like 70 something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I'm going to coin the term a Martha moment, which is when something extremely contrived for the sake of the plot happens in a movie.
It's, how,
It's a good-
it's
it's a good way to put
basically
it.
used to make two people who are enemies forced to be friends all of a sudden without
Yeah.
any real reason.
So it has a Martha moment. And we haven't been writing a lot down, but I feel like altering Artemis's character is a huge mistake, and mashing up different books. It's also saying in the book that Leprechaun tries to kill Artemis and everyone in his mansion.
Okay.
And they don't try to do that in the movie, but it's another instance where the book is way more hardcore and interesting and has higher stakes.
What do they try to do? Like, did they pump like heroin gas in there and then rush it and shoot it off?
Apparently they can freeze you. They have like a freezing time freeze thing.
Oh.
I think is that also in the
I think it's in the movie. But
it's in the
different.
movie, but
I'm sorry. I was making a Spetsnaz
they may
joke.
also do it in the book. I can't remember.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, what?
I was making a Spetsnaz joke.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
Well, these Chechnyan terrorists took over a movie theater.
Oh.
So the Russian government response was to pump the theater full of like fentanyl gas.
Oh
So,
my
and
like
it
this.
knocked everyone out. And so the Russian Spetsnaz came out and shot the terrorist.
Yeah.
But it's heroin gas basically. So they 850 hostages, but 200 died.
Good grief.
That was a good joke, Luke. I like that.
Yeah, so those
More
are
of
all
a
the,
statement, really, not a comment.
so those are all the major changes. And of course, at the end, they break out Josh Gad.
I thought you were going to say they break out in song, but
Yeah.
honestly, if they had ended with a dance routine, that's pretty good.
Because it would not be fitting at all, so that makes it good.
Exactly.
According to our formula. The whole thing with Mulch Diggums telling the story, I was wondering if it was going to end up like The Usual Suspects, where he tells some lie. Like he learned that everything he's been talking about was a big lie, and he uses it to escape. Artemis Fowl never existed. It was all Mulch Diggums. It was all Josh Gad. He warped the story to revolve around him. That would be more creative. It would be. I feel like Artemis Fowl fans would be burning down Disney Studios if they did that. They'd be even more enraged. But hey, it'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it would be an interesting twist.
Yeah.
They aren't that creative.
No, they gotta ruin it in very boring ways. See, you gotta give it to who directed films we won't discuss. But at least he was creative in the ways that he ruined his franchise.
Yeah, I mean, he did like one draft, but yeah, he was creative.
They're always making one draft.
Yeah, I don't.
There's a lot of one draft
These movies, they have to be made now.
I would say even this is a one draft movie.
Probably.
What's the point?
Maybe
One draft, or we just don't give a flying flip.
With his nature, he didn't even bother. He just told people he wrote a draft, but he never did.
Well, it was other people that wrote it.
Maybe what it is Josh Gad. Maybe he just talked to the director and told him the story of Artemis Fowl.
Yeah,
it's exactly.
I haven't read the book in over 10 years, but only tried to describe it to you.
They just used it for the framing method. And it was like that show Drunk History.
Yeah.
Only he wasn't drunk. He just couldn't remember anything about the stories.
Yeah. He was just telling the director. The director's like, this is great. We'll do this.
Yeah, but you're already in makeup. We'll put you on a set.
I think Mulch Diggum was telling the story. I can't remember.
Yeah.
They had him in a prison cell where interrogating
That's
him.
perfect, because you're here telling me across the table.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
And real life writes the plot.
Josh Gad told the story to Branagh.
I was just him. He wasn't acting or anything. They had him in a room. They were discussing the script. He's all just shoveled and stuff. He's all like, the story is like this.
His hair's all long. It's not makeup or a wig or anything.
He's just very disheveled.
And he kept calling himself a giant dwarf.
He was probably just drinking a little too much in the morning.
Refer to me as a giant dwarf, please. It's my new thing. Okay, yeah, that's the majority of what I had. I guess we can show you
Oh, please do.
Mulch Diggum in action before we move on.
Ooh, our Lord and Savior, Josh Gad.
Yeah. Artemis Fowl, it's feeding time.
What?
Were they trying to give him like a catchphrase?
There we go. And here is Mulch Diggums in action.
712 views.
Dwarfis giganticus. Dwarfis giganticus.
Saying what he is.
Everybody, stand back.
So now he is dislocating his jaw. It's a great effect.
It's feeding time.
There he goes. Now, as he burrows while eating dirt, he is expelling waste through an exposed flap in his underwear. We have a horrifying shot of him tearing through the tunnel that he's creating. Pour up some tanks.
Let's do a picture.
Yep. Okay, so he burrowed through the ground and ended up in the wall of the house, or is it a subterranean wall?
Well, he went into the space between the wall,
He
basically.
dug up into the crawl
He
space.
ate
Yeah.
insulation.
There's dirt up in there.
Well, I mean,
He just climbed.
Well, if you can eat dirt, you can
eat
just
fiberglass.
You can eat fiberglass,
Ooh,
and
that's-
then eat through wood.
But he's pooping dirt.
Oh my god!
This is a children's film where a man eats and poops dirt.
No, giant dwarf, Billy. Please.
Okay, a giant dwarf eats and poops dirt. You see his underwear. You see the dirt flying out of his butt crack. This is in a modern movie for $135 million. Everyone said Oh, that's perfectly fine. I see no problem with this whatsoever. Is everyone in Hollywood brain dead? I mean, I know people make that joke, but like, are they so high on their own farts, their own nonsense,
on their own dirt?
Yeah, are they so high on their own dirt farts that they can't see that is a stupid, ridiculous scene to put in a movie? It's like the whole entirety of Cats.
But Billy, it's feeding time.
Okay, well, I stand correct. I'm sorry, I didn't think of it that way. It is, in fact, feeding time. I should have taken that into account.
So where does this scene go? I mean...
I don't... To hell? I just...
You know, we've been sending things to hell a lot.
Well, I mean, I was joking, but it's just... So many people saw that.
I like to think that he heard it when the director came out with the actor swap.
You heard it when the actors came out?
No, when the director came out with a bucket with the actors slop.
Oh.
Pours it out. It's like, it's feeding time, actors.
But it's, like I was saying, so many people saw that. So many people animated that. So many people in testing screenings.
They had to look at it.
Had to look at that.
Yeah, they had to look at light and all that and go back and tweak it.
Yeah. Josh Gad had to pull his pants down practically for that scene. And nobody, up until this point, said, this is absolute garbage and should not be shown to any human being. Same with Cats. That entire movie is a travesty.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh no, this is cool. This is perfectly fine.
You know what they say, evil wins when good men do nothing.
No, the truth is, evil prevails. This is evidence.
Well, no, I'm just saying, because no one spoke up. So, evil prevails when good men do or say nothing,
I guess so, but
it's acting. It's like bad acting decisions get made when people don't speak up.
Well, I mean...
Not even bad acting. Everybody involved with this film
I know. No
was fine with this.
Yeah, no, it probably wasn't that they were fine with it. They just didn't want to rock the boat.
Well, yeah, that's it. They're like,
fired.
I don't care. It's like, I just do my job. I get paid a lot of money. And
who are we to say against Josh Gad, all right? And who are they to say against... Maybe he really wanted to do this.
Maybe he ordained it. He's like, I want to unhinge my jaw and expel dirt waste from my gluteus maximus.
How do we know he just didn't do it? And they put it in the movie.
I don't care who decided. You know what? I don't believe in Josh Gad.
Oh,
okay?
no.
I don't think he's real.
Josh Gad is dead.
I don't have enough information, so I'm a Josh agnostic.
Josh agnostic. I'm a heretic. I'm a part of the church of, I don't know what.
Josh Gad is dead.
I was going to say the church of Cordenism, but I also don't want to be a part of that church either.
I feel like I'm a strict emojiist. Always have been.
I thought you were an emoji handler.
What?
An emoji handler. You have the emojis and they bite you.
No, I remember our emoji movie.
Yeah, I know, but I thought you were of a certain subsect called emoji handlers.
You hold them in church. Yeah. He's doing a snake handler joke.
Oh.
It took me a second, but...
You didn't get the snake handler?
I did! It just took me a second.
My goodness.
Look, you're too highbrow, Luke. Sometimes your jokes take me a second.
Is that what you call it?
What, highbrow? Look, I'm being nice here, okay?
I think they are.
Okay, well, I've complained enough about, this horrifying visage that is before me.
I just like the image of some guy with a giant emoji head just kind of floating around and he just bites them.
And then he's poisoned and dies.
He turns into an emoji.
Oh, that's worse than being bit by a poisonous snake. Okay, yeah, but I felt like we needed to see that.
I don't think so.
Sorry to... Well, I mean, there's points to be argued either way.
And if you want to see it yourself, look up Artemis Fowl. It's feeding time.
Yep. And I'm sorry I got heated, but I need to go to Hollywood and I need someone to sit me down and just explain why these things happen.
Well, I can tell you right now, it's money.
But that's not specifically money.
No, I just need them to say, okay, look, we thought it'd be funny, or this was a weird instance where we were trying to be true to the book. And with Cats, I just need someone to be... I just need someone to be punished. Like, in a public... No, see, I just need some people to be punished in a public way so I can go, okay, so there is some justice in the world. Whoever came up with its feeding time was beaten in front of a crowd of 100,000 with a bullwhip. So there is some justice in this world. The entire cast and crew of Cats, they were horribly executed in the public square.
For their crimes
That's
against
all I really
humanity.
need is people to be punished for their entertainment and artistic-based sins. Because I know some people make bad movies and mistakes are made, but there's some things that are so egregious like you had to know better.
Yeah.
You know, you had to know. Like underdogs, you don't deserve to be punished for underdogs. You tried.
Because you made it in Argentina and you made it for Argentinians and then you just sold it off.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, some
The
movies.
standards are lower over there.
Yeah, but some movies, I am not filled with despair over their existence. But others, come on, we need to. The scales must be righted. They must be balanced.
Sometimes you need a bit of a purge.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a snap.
Okay, well I've said my piece, and we can move on.
To rando reviews,
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take some water.
it's drinking time.
we're gonna say it's feeding time from now on.
We are. Alright, so first we got Seth Nelson. Give it 4 out of 5. It's 4 out of 5 stars.
Flies.
4 out of 5. It's a long review. I'll skip around. He says the books are absolutely amazing, and while the film may not be exactly what everyone wanted to see as an Artemis Fowl movie, it appears to me that Disney got as close as they could to making a family-friendly movie about a criminal mastermind. The book is, of course, better. It makes a whole lot more sense, but when you see the movie from Disney's perspective, there isn't a whole lot more they could have done. Using Mulch as a narrator was a bit odd, however, and that remains my only real complaint with the movie.
Oh, okay.
It is family-friendly, blood-free, and morally clear retelling of the Artemis Fowl story. And at this, it does an excellent job. It also readily paves the way for a sequel, which has a high probability of being much, much better. Overall, this movie could have been a whole lot worse than it is, and in my mind stands as one of the better movies developed from a young adult book series. Honestly, besides Mulch, the biggest problem with the movie is simply that it isn't a book. The entire appeal of the Artemis Fowl book series was the fact that with Artemis as the narrator, we could see his thoughts and hear his commentary. A movie can't really do that. This is why the movie flopped. It wasn't because it was a bad adaptation, it was because it wasn't a book. If the same plot had been written out, it would fit in perfectly to the Artemis Fowl style. But it's a movie, and people need to start thinking of it as a movie. If they had done a flawless adaptation, it would actually be much worse than it is. Artemis himself would basically be reduced to an almost useless character, and Butler would probably be more easily seen as the film's protagonist. The commentary is what made the books what they are, and the lack of commentary is what made the movie so apparently bad. Our two options for Artemis were either a morally good teen superhero character or a cardboard box. And I, for one, am glad that we got the former.
Who is this bozo?
I have never heard a review that is more wrong in every capacity than that review.
Everything you just said was wrong.
Yeah, I need to break down what he was saying there.
So, he says Mulch was a bad narrator, but he also says Mulch, for some reason, is narrating.
Well, yeah. So
why couldn't Artemis Fowl?
Right, why
Yeah.
can't Artemis Fowl
if that was
narrate?
the one major problem, but for some reason he's like either Artemis Fowl has to be this teen superhero or he'll be boring.
Yeah, that's not true at
Doesn't make
all.
any sense. So if the book is so good, then why would translating the book more closely make the movie suddenly bad? This makes no
terrible,
sense.
Billy. Having Artemis Fowl being actually Artemis Fowl, it'd be a terrible idea. He'd be so cardboard box or whatever.
What is it being?
I think
Well,
he
what
made,
if?
made a cardboard
Yeah,
or like
no personality.
trapped within a box.
I never heard it used in that expression. It's always been like a cardboard cutout. It's a cardboard box. So like, what you put
Well,
things
he's
in?
boring.
Well, I couldn't tell if you meant he's boring or he'd be trapped within
No, okay,
the
now
confines
let me tell
of a
you
box.
something. I had never been bored with a cardboard box before.
But yeah, it doesn't make any sense because you could have Artemis as the narrator.
Yeah.
You could do a whole bunch of different things. You could because it's a movie. You choose. You almost have more avenues. Tough on time. You don't have as much time because you got to keep it concise. But you have a lot more avenues to show the character's work, and you've got a visual element that the books can't have, which is why books are much longer and more detailed because they have to be.
Yeah.
But the detail is in the visuals for movies. It doesn't
It
make
seems
any,
very contradictory, and he's like a Disney apologetic. Like, well, this is the only way they could have done it.
yeah, it's the only way they could have done it. There was nothing better.
This watered down, poorly adapted version. This makes no sense. What he's saying. It's
Yeah.
like it's such an apologist, like Disney shill review. I'm sorry to be harsh. If you like Disney, that's fine. But like, they can do wrong. They do wrong a lot.
Yeah.
You don't have to defend them every time. This was a poor adaptation, clearly. That is so confusing.
All right. Then we have Anushka Shankar. Gave it a 4 out of 5 flies. I think it was an awesome movie and that everyone should watch it. It was one of the best movies ever. Sure, it wasn't like the books, but it still was great. Change can be a good thing, haters. If you don't like this movie, that means you only have half a brain and don't know how to appreciate the wondrous work the producers and directors have put in to create such a marvelous movie. It was adventurous and worthwhile to watch. The epic battles were incredible, and I love this movie. And if haters think they can do better than this, please be my guests. Truly a stunning and incredible movie. Well done, Disney. Looking forward to Artemis Fowl 2. Well,
All right. I want to say this, all right?
yes.
There's one thing I don't like is when they take an IP like this and completely change it, and if you complain about it,
You're just a hater.
you're just a hater. And my response is, why does it have to be Artemis Fowl if you're going to change it so radically?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
why can't it be its own thing?
Yeah, we addressed that, yeah.
I know, but I hate this mentality, like, oh, well, they changed it drastically, but you don't like it because you're a hater. It's like, no, they stuck, it's like almost false advertisement in a way.
Yeah.
This is Artemis Fowl, but when you go in and watch it, it's not. And if you complain about it, some weirdo on the internet is like, no, you were just a hater. And if I want to see you do a better job making this, and that's another one that gets me.
Yeah,
do it, and it's like,
I don't have $135 million in access to
no one's
actors.
gonna give me that, a complete unknown.
Yeah.
But the thing, it's like, what is it? It was like some webcomic where these two people walk out of a movie theater and one guy's like, that was a dumb movie. And his friend's like, you don't understand. You only say that because you don't know how hard it is to make a film, you know? And so later the guy's like, yeah, I'll do that. So he's sitting there. He's all like, oh, wow, making a movie's harder than I thought. Maybe Samurai Diaper Baby Ninjas is a better film than I thought.
I know, like, you don't have to make a movie to know there's something wrong here. I know we've gone over that a lot, but like, I know people
It keeps coming back up.
People get defensive when something they liked is not well received, which I understand that. It's just human nature. But I mean, I feel like people need to get where like they can accept that maybe this wasn't handled properly, but I still enjoy it. You can have what do they call it? I've lost
guilty
it.
pleasure?
Guilty pleasure, yeah. I was like, why did my brain lose that one? You can have a guilty pleasure. It's fine. I have plenty of them.
Yeah.
You know, wish I could think of one right now. Because most of the movies I like are brilliant masterpieces.
Another one I hate is that it wasn't made for you.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, who is it made for if they're using the IP and name, you know?
Yeah. I'm a fan of the franchise. You'd think out of anyone this would have supposedly appealed to me.
Yeah. All right. Then we have Sarthak Rathi, 1 out of 5 stars. Wow. Another perfectly amazing book series novelization down the gutter. I hadn't anticipated the movie, wanting to see Disney's betrayal of the criminal mastermind and the characters I love, only to find their character being obliterated like Thanos had snapped and proclaimed, I died. You shall have a movie that is worse than Ant-Man exploding by going up my butt. I had just completed the series before the quarantine, so I had high hopes. Sigh. This is like Doolittle's fail all over again. Disney can't just handle making a good novelization. They have to spoil it. Yeah. Artemis Fowl is portrayed as a literal 11-year-old kid in the movie. Believe me, you, crying like a baby over his father's disappearance is not his character. In the book, when his father disappeared, he calmly faced it. If you wish to bore yourself to death, watch it. If you don't want to do that, read the books and try to forget the rubbish movie. So Disney, in the future, please stick your Hungry Hippo game. I love you, but just don't do this to good things.
Oh, Hungry Hippo game. You know, like slamming down to get all the food, but in this case, they're like eating all the IPs and stuff.
I guess so. I guess that's what he means.
All right. Then we have Shanam, 4 out of 5 stars, and he brought up a really good point, all right? Okay. Although it was a little hard to believe in modern fairies living in a cosmopolitan fairyland.
Oh, that's the hard part.
Due to huge contrast from what we all imagine fairies to be like from childhood stories. But it was a nice portrayal of an innovative way of fairies in today's high-tech world due to its different vision of fairies from the books. This movie may not appeal to some of the audience, but those who enjoy some raw imagination will find it fascinating. No doubt the actors and screenplay is amazing. No doubt.
Well, did you not watch it?
I don't know.
The way he's phrasing it sounds like he hasn't seen it yet.
All right, then we have Impartial Tuna 76. If you want to spend time watching a film that is very thought-provoking, then this film is for you. A huge conversation filler amongst friends when you ask each other, what? Who's that? What are they doing? And now? Why are they now friends? How did they get a hold of that? What is going on? I thought they were Irish. Why is their accent changed? Arr! Alternatively, you could sit and watch something a lot easier to understand, like, well, Donnie Darko or The Tree of Life, to be honest. So this movie...
It's a great conversation starter.
Well, this movie turns you into an old person.
It's like watching movies with your mom.
Well, it brings you all together. You know, it unifies the human race under confusion.
Confusion?
Through confusion.
I think you watch this movie and you all expand out into different parts of the world. But, you know.
No, it puts you all on the same intellectual and mental level. So
there are no betters or worsers. There's just, a great equalizer.
Yeah, we're all equal. This movie...
It's the great equalizer. I thought Colt was.
Like the gun manufacturer?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Look, I'm trying to keep up with you, okay?
That was their slogan.
All right.
Great
I did not know
equalizer.
that.
Okay. Then we have Josiah Trelawney, who I'm worried about, all right? He gave it 5 stars. A strange man on the side of the road handed a big black spool to me the other day. Finally had the chance to give it a spin. Turns out it was a film. And goodness gracious, it was a splendid one. Full of whimsy and fantastic things, though. I didn't understand most of it. My children did have a good time. So this guy's been handed some movie. We don't know what movie.
He didn't even say it was Artemis Fowl.
Right, he was just handed some movie. He watched it with the kids, and he had no idea what was going on. But they liked it.
Yeah, you put whimsy in a sentence, and I laugh.
So, with the pandemic going around and you can't go to theaters... it doesn't make any sense because they have a streaming service, but it's like Kenneth Branagh out on the street just handing Artemis Fowl to people?
Oh,
or
maybe.
Is it some third party that...
Wait, how you describe like a spool?
Yeah,
like a...
So
it was like...
I saw that
he had
film tape.
He had an old-fashioned film reel.
Yeah, film reel.
And this person he gave it to had the means to watch
They
it.
projected this modern film on their wall, I guess.
I mean, I don't know. I'm worried about him. He's probably wrapped up in some sort of horror plot now that he's accepted the spool. He's going to
die in 7 days.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was watching it and Artemis Fowl had hyper-realistic eyes and started bleeding everywhere.
So I'm going to put in pro cons. Beware the film giver. I don't know what to call him. I feel like that's a good place to start.
Mysterious film giver.
Because I don't know if he's just benevolent and he's just handing out movies to entertain people during
Well, if he's handing out
quarantine.
if he's handing out Artemis Fowl, he's probably malevolent.
Well, like he may not know. He may be like, hey, this is a new movie the kids might enjoy.
Yeah.
He may not be malevolent.
But what's
He may be
funny is that every time he hands you a film spool, when you get home, you will always have the means to watch it. You'll like discover like an old film projector, like, I didn't know this was in my house. Very mysterious.
But either that or he's giving out films that eventually do kill you. That's why it's a pro con, because we don't know at this point, folks. We'll keep you posted on the mysterious film giver. Maybe Branagh, maybe not.
It could be Josh Gad,
Yeah.
Maybe Judi Dench, even James Corden. It could be any of those
Who knows?
terrible creatures.
Your kids will enjoy it.
Yes.
All right, then we have Haiti the QT. 1 out of 5. It's a terrible, worst thing my eyes have ever seen. If you watch it, you will get scarred for life. It hurts my brain just thinking about it. And every time I hear the name, I just have a seizure. And every time I see that kid's face, I just rip out my eyes. Please, for your own safety, never ever watch this.
So he got the film giver.
Yeah, the film giver gave Haiti the QT.
How does she write that review if her eyes are ripped out?
Well, they grow back like Prometheus style.
Oh,
She's See, that's what the film does to you. I
so
realize
it sends a giant eagle to rip your eyes out?
Well, she ripped her own eyes out.
wrong, but it
And
grows
also, you
back,
can have a
like-
Braille computer.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I guess.
Writing with a Braille computer. So
Well, I
we
mean-
figured out, folks, that it's apparently malevolent. Because, but, I mean, it doesn't kill you. It just torments you. But I kind of feel like watching it on a streaming site would have the same effect. So he's still kind of just, not
Maybe
that
it's been
bad.
modified.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. And we got Timothy Kelly, 1 out of 5. This movie randomly added things to the story. I had no idea what was happening the entire movie. They basically threw a banana at your face and asked if you knew the entire history of the world based off the banana. What happened with Mulch's mouth? Ew. It's feeding time. See, I didn't understand what
that guy in the VIP for that little simile, that little metaphor.
And for acknowledging feeding time.
Yes.
Was it Timothy?
Yeah, Timothy. All right.
But why, back to the metaphor, why a banana in your face?
I don't know.
I guess because it's ridiculous.
He's probably eating a banana at the time.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Then IMDb, we have George L. 437-490-589. 1 out of 10. It's titled Awful. Awful. I could stand to watch more than 30 minutes. He could stand to watch it. Well, I mean, at least you can stand to watch it more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, so...
You can't watch it less than that.
You'll go insane and rip your eyes out. It's unbearable those first 30 minutes, and after that you can bear to finish it.
No, I thought you could only watch 30 minutes.
I could stand to watch more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, he could,
more than 30
could stand
minutes.
to
Oh, okay,
watch
more.
more.
Yeah, he
I
could
missed that.
watch more. He thought it was awful, but hey, you know.
If he hit the 30-minute mark, he could finish it.
Okay, fine for over 30 minutes. Don't
Yeah,
watch it
he might
eventually.
watch it 31 minutes and be done with it, but at least 30 minutes.
I feel sorry for the English language.
It is so badly abused.
Matt Wolfrey, 1 out of 10. Stop, find something else. Guaranteed to ruin your day. About 1 minute in, I thought the writing was utter poo. Narration is such a cheap tactic to vomit plot details. Sorry, Josh Gad, but you're horrible as Hagrid too. Art direction and costumes are complete cliche and total disaster. I expected so much more from Kenneth Branagh. Judi Dench's agent has been a real errant to her this past year. File under Cats, which at least had a catchy tune here and there. Hurts to know this was even made. You all over barely deserves the 1 star.
I love Hagrid too.
Yes, Electric
Does it
Boogaloo.
need to be in VIP 2 for Hagrid 2?
I think we'll put Hagrid 2 in the VIP.
Can you imagine the Harry Potter book if Hagrid just all of a sudden unhinged his jaws and eating through the dirt?
All right, Youngster
It'd be a better
60285.
book, honestly.
I'm a giant dwarf, Harry.
7 out of 10, Holly Short, Warrior Fairy, it's titled. This is a Disney movie, not the domain of bookworms or internet nerds. It's a fun production with great acting from
Those people who read.
Laura McDonnell, who is the standout performance with her part Holly. Like a fairy superheroine, she saves the day. Artemis could do with a better actor as he is a little wooden. Look forward to a Holly spinoff.
I feel bad for that kid because this is his first movie. Although I think he's related to some famous actor, so he'll probably bounce back. But
Yeah.
I want to see
All
him
right,
hate
last one. We got Dan T. And, you know, he has a real...
Dan T?
Dan, the letter T.
Oh, I thought you were mispronouncing Dante.
No. All right, 5 stars. For those of you giving negative reviews of this movie, stop. This world would be a far better place if you keep notice thoughts to yourself and only commented on the positive aspects of the movie.
Oh my god, these reviews have run the gamut with all my pet peeves about reviewing.
Great for all the family, check mark. Great for the world right now, check mark.
What capacity?
Great to open your mind, check mark. Great that there's no bloody gunshots or foul language, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. I'm so tired of seeing blood, guts, guns, death, etc. on TV. Thank you, Disney, for making movies like this for all to enjoy. If the most of humanity came to an end tomorrow, and this movie, as well as a blood, guts, and violence movie, was found 1,000 years from now, I'd rather be remembered from this Disney movie. I honestly believe it's TV and what is on it that's caused our problems with violence today. It has made 2 generations numb to violence, and they think it's okay. Keep it up, Disney. We're all watching regardless of the reviews.
Oh my goodness, that was a cocktail of everything I hate about reviews.
I think the world's a better place if we do call out bad movies.
No, only comment on the positive aspects of the movie.
Never critique anything.
Ignore the bad aspects, which there are many.
This reminds me of the Marge Simpson quote where I think personally because it's not for me, it shouldn't exist. You know? When she was going after Itchy and Scratchy.
No one
Like the kids' movies exist for that purpose, so that a family can watch something together that's not
You're not gonna
graphic
you're not gonna find blood and guts in a kids movie, are you?
not normally.
I mean,
Like,
unless it's like
not even
Watership
in
Down
the-
or something.
these people not understand how ratings work. Like for the most part, if you stick around G and PG, you're gonna be fine. You're not gonna find blood and guts and gore.
Unless you're like watching movies from the 80s and 70s, then you will.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most parents don't look at the ratings, so maybe Dan T has just like taken their kids to some terrible movies because they had no idea, you know?
Yeah. Let's go see Sausage Party. It's animated.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What's this saw? I mean, I'll take my kids to that. You know,
I like
sounds
saws. They're tools. You can build stuff with them.
Yeah, seems interesting.
Give my kids a good work ethic. And like on TV, sure, there's a lot of violence, but like the sitcoms, Big Bang Theory has been the most popular show for a decade.
Well, I mean that show is full of violence.
Maybe some bad language.
Violence against comedy. Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. These people, it's like they all follow the same script. Like it's Disney. Don't think too hard about it. Don't critique.
That's what
Don't
I
say
hate.
anything negative. You know, violence is inherently bad and has made everyone violent.
Now, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Never mind the fact that people are just terrible in general. We don't need movies to inspire us to do bad things.
Yeah, I know. People in history didn't need violent movies to kill each other or
Yeah.
violent entertainment. They just did.
Yeah, I know. It's just I don't want to get up on my soapbox, but it's just these kind of reviews. Are
I just
irritating.
hate it when they say "don't think." That really makes me angry.
Yeah, it's like just turn your brain off.
It's just a concession on their part that this movie is bad.
Well, yeah, everyone knows it.
Again, guilty pleasures, people. You can like things that aren't great. You can admit it.
I like the Page Master, but I don't consider that too good of a movie.
Yeah, I mean, as
This movie
Narrative
is
problems,
certainly
but-
special because even people who haven't read the books think it's a terrible movie.
yeah,
I mean, it's from the reviews, it seems like it is just poorly done, and then that just goes back to it, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I welcome reviews like looking a little chunky and I pee-peed on my bunghole or whatever. Well, I'm thinking of Beavis and Butthead, but whatever review that was, like I welcome those over these sanctimonious people blaming the entire ills of humanity on movies and giving terrible movies a pass.
I tell you what, it's the rock and roll. It's making kids violent.
Yeah, there was a ton of wall of text throughout the reviews. I couldn't find anything too
Well, I'm not saying you shouldn't grab them. I'm just saying these people just irritate me. And I'm not going to sit here either and tell you that media has no effect on people. You know, it can warp you in certain ways, especially when you're younger.
Yeah.
But I think this whole idea that that's what turns you into a horrifying monster, you know, of a person is totally off the mark. You know, there's all these factors, and maybe media can play a role in it, but...
Oh, sure. I mean, everything affects you.
But if you're an adult, you know, and you're viewing the media that's at your age range, you're probably going to be fine, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Read.
Sorry, I keep getting up on my soapbox.
I mean, read the parental guidance. Come on, it's just a few letters.
Yeah.
All right. Reviews change lives. You know, all that.
But apparently we can't have any reviews.
We can only have
Positive
We
reviews.
can only
Yes.
have happiness and
Yeah.
you know and smiles. I mean,
Yeah.
wasn't that whole movie like Inside Out? Wasn't that like the whole message of the movie? You can't be like happy all the time, you know.
You have to acknowledge the sadness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little different, but I see what you're saying.
I thought you were going to go more utopia, but not really.
Utopia. Oh, dystopia.
Dystopia, yeah. I couldn't think of the term.
I guess in a way that's conditioning us.
Yeah. Well,
You must be happy. Be happy.
You
Take the status quo.
You can't experience any other emotion other than happiness.
Do not think. Consume products.
well,
you
I'm
know,
thinking
all
like
that.
movies like The Raid or John Wick wouldn't exist if these people had their way. You know?
Right.
Violence is awesome in movies. It's horrible in real life, but in movies, it's like visual fireworks. Well,
And those aren't-
That's dumb to say. Fireworks are visual, but you know what I mean.
I wouldn't even call it. Those aren't highbrow movies, but man, they're enjoyable.
No,
they're
yeah,
really
yeah,
enjoyable.
You don't take
So-
your kids to go see them.
No.
No, I don't know
You
if
don't think
that's
maybe-
fully what their point was. They
No,
just,
they
they liked seeing that, which I get, but also they ruined, the source material, so it's hard to forgive them.
Was there much shooting in the original books anyways?
They got pretty violent. Like, Butler really got wrecked several times. Like, I think the troll, like, he defeats it, but it all but kills him. I feel like he's healed or something. Like, it messes him up, I know that much. And there's another point where he's like, I guess this is spoilers for a later book, but he gets shot and the bullet like goes through his vest and into him, and Holly heals him, but he's so wounded like it ages him drastically.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Another thing was like his name's supposed to be a secret, but they just reveal, hey, I'm Dom, It's really dumb.
Yeah.
See, I mean that's enough of that.
We keep getting dragged back.
What do we have next?
I was thinking we could call it there. I actually forgot to look at Facts and Follies, but there's not normally that many good ones anyways, so we can call it there.
Well, do we want to do a crazy quiz real quick?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the quiz.
That's why I was asking about it.
I don't know. We're already running so long. Do we want?
There's only 10 questions.
Okay,
I think we can do it.
Let's do the quiz.
All right, we're going to do our personality quiz. Who are we? We're actually doing this from Artemis Fowl Confidential.
Is it a fan site?
I have no idea. It might actually be the official site.
Oh.
So this is an official quiz. You see a person in distress. What do you do? Make sure they're not a security threat. Put them out of their misery. Move along. You have more important things to worry about. Comfort them. Find out what's wrong and try to help. Well, see, I like being a villain, so I'm just going to put them out of their misery. I mean, what do you guys think?
I love that. Sure, we're going super villain. We're going like really hardcore villain. We're going to put them out of their misery.
Yeah. A biobomb will shortly hit a human capital city. What do you do? Race against the clock to save them? No idea. I'll just have something to eat. Why would I save them? I sent the biobomb. We're fairies. It's not our problem.
We sent the biobomb.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
We're villains, remember?
We sent this movie to the capital city.
All right, we sent the biobomb. Oh, here we go. What gives you the most pleasure in life? Crushing my enemy.
I actually had that thought.
Accomplishing things that have never been done before. Eating absolutely anything. Helping and protecting
I wonder
others.
which one's the dwarf, which one's the fairy,
I want to say crushing my enemies, but I am tempted to just eat absolutely everything.
Let's eat absolutely everything.
Let's eat everything. The biobomb is our waste.
What is your greatest fault? I get angry too easily. I'm dumber than a bag of hammers. I'm sometimes too smart for my own good. Faults? I don't have faults.
I'm too smart for my own good.
Okay.
See, that's what kids, if you're ever in a job interview, that's what you say when they ask you for a flaw.
Yeah.
I'm too smart for my own good.
I just say that I embezzle money.
Well, that's why you're never hired.
Yeah, I just embezzle things,
What is your favorite food? Caviar, truffles, anything. Health food, carrots.
I like carrots.
Oh, we just do carrots?
Just specifically carrots.
Carrots.
All right, carrots.
Are we going to get Peter Rabbit in this Artemis Fowl quiz?
Oh, probably.
He is one of the most nefarious villains, after all.
All right. Which word best describes you? What's a word? Tough, genius, crazy.
Crazy?
Yeah, let's go with crazy.
Or what's a word?
What's a word?
I said using words.
When someone insults you, do you hatch a plan for revenge? Nothing. Doesn't bother me. Eat them. Beat the stuffing out of them.
We eat them.
We eat them. Okay.
It's feeding time, bro.
Feeding time.
We come up with our jaws on end and go, it's feeding time, then we bore them in one bite.
Does he eat people?
I don't know.
Now I'm even more scared. I take it back. Josh God, I believe in you, okay? I fully believe. I'm an ardent
He's going to come from the ground and eat you.
No, I'm a believer. I take it all back.
I'm still agnostic.
What is your favorite thing from below? Fly, eating, stealing, showing off.
From below?
What?
From
They're talking about
the underground.
Oh, okay.
What's our favorite thing to do from below? Eating, stealing, showing off.
How about we just steal?
Flying is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do flying.
I don't know.
We'll fly. I think that's good.
I think we did enough eating.
But I also want to eat.
What one thing would you take with you on a desert island? Laptop, chocolate, neutrino.
Neutrino?
which I think is like it's the is there a quark or something like that?
I don't know.
Like
what
it's the
it is.
base of
There's
an atom.
neutron. I don't know what a neutrino is.
Is it like some sort of like from the movie, like an energy drink or something? That's what I think.
I don't know.
No, I swear it's like a
So
quark or
a
something.
neutrino is a quantum physics related thing?
I think so. Well, there's a neutron. I think because the quarks are the things that make up an atom or the base.
Neutrino. Okay, yeah. Neutral subatomic particle
Why
with
you
a mass
taking-
close to 0.5 integral spin, rarely reacting with normal matter. Okay, so we'll bring a neutrino on.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they're all around us because they're subatomic.
I mean, don't you already?
Did they
have-
mean a neutrino? Wait, no, it would be a neutron bomb.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have any clue.
well, we'll
but-
take a neutrino, whatever that means.
Yeah, we'll just take it.
Are you male or female?
Yes.
We are fortunately or unfortunately male, depending on how you want to look at it.
What does that mean?
Depends if you
Okay, well, this is getting cut out.
cut that out.
Guess who we got?
Ooh.
Dig 'em.
You are like Opal Kobai.
Oh, the main villain.
Yeah, I wonder how we got that. Oh,
We did so much eating. I thought for
I know
sure.
we did two evil things and then we just ate
All right.
everything else.
was the
Opal
carrot.
is a deranged, paranoid pixie whose dream is world domination and the destruction of the LEP. A prodigy, she built Cowboy Laboratories, a technology company which she used to crush her father's company. Featured in several of the Artemis Fowl books, used as the main antagonist. She detests Foley as he won a science competition in college over her, and she believed the judges chose Foley instead just because he was a male.
Okay.
I thought you said the
I
LA.
remember was that in the movie? Because she's just a villain in the second one. I don't remember
was
all
the-
this backstory, but
I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, wait, I thought for a second you said the LAPD, and I was like, what does the Los Angeles Police Department have to do with this?
Yeah, they're down there in the fairy world.
I was confused
part
for
of the
a second.
jurisdiction. All right. Well, after all that, it's time to go over the pros and cons and then review this
Yes.
thingy. Okay.
I give it.
Cons. They faked the giant dwarf. Not in the book. They did it because they were lazy and they didn't want to shrink down Josh Gad. It has a mom death. The movie was only made so they can make the next movie. It features a Martha moment. They altered Artemis pretty drastically. He's just a whiny little kid and he's not a genius.
He's athletic and
Yeah. Yeah, he was just a nerd. He was all mental. That was
Yeah.
the point of him. They
It was
mashed,
Mandark.
and he was mental.
Mandark.
but more competent. They mashed up several different books to make this one, which is just a bad decision, especially if you're going to make a full franchise. Come on. And Josh Gad told the story to Branagh, which is why it turned out the way it did. It's just him telling it to him, usual suspect style. Then pros, it features a goblin discombobulate. Branagh is an agent of chaos.
I just have to interject here. When you say the usual suspects and with this new knowledge I have,
Yeah.
I like to think that instead of just walking out of the police department, he goes, "It's feeding time." He just burrows out.
Oh, probably.
It just kind of walked through my head. I had to share it.
That's how he travels.
This movie, one of the biggest pros, it's the great equalizer. It confuses everyone and puts them on the same mental level.
Yes.
And finally, in pros, it's fine to watch after the 30-minute mark. If you stop before then, you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Pro cons, it was adapted properly in one capacity. It was adapted properly by the corporate side of production, not the creative or the script writing side. It was adapted by the greedy, boardroom guys.
They're the only ones who read the book,
Yeah.
because Kenneth had the retelling. So.
Yeah. But he also didn't care because he's an agent of chaos and
Right,
just wanted to make the worst movie possible. So it was a toxic brew of various things.
Yes.
Then the final pro con: beware the film giver.
Oh, yes.
He may be evil, or all the side effects we heard about just may be the result of watching this movie. He may be ignorant and he's just trying to be nice and give movies. And,
Or he's just completely neutral.
Yeah.
Just like he doesn't necessarily always control what movie he gives out.
Right,
He just gives
yeah.
them the black spool. See,
Yeah.
they go home and they're somehow able to play it, like Luke said.
Mm-hmm. So beware the film giver. And that's it for our review notes.
All right, so now we have to review it, right?
Yeah, and remember that Josh Gad sees all.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it 1 out of 5 stars. If you put that together, that's a 15.
Okay.
Well, and a lot of people who I agree with gave it a 1 out of 5 stars, but I can't do that. So I just took the 1, got rid of the slash, and put the 5.
Yeah, this is the level of quality we expect from the Much Review About Nothing reviews. On par for the course.
What are you going to say about it? It's another butchered film adaptation, you know? And I find those particularly egregious because, like I said, I consider it false advertising because they say, oh, this is Artemis Fowl, and you get in, it's nothing like it. They try to sell you another product under the guise of something you know and love.
Yeah. So 15, which is 1 out of 5 combined.
Well, I mean, really 1/5 of 100 would be 20, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But it's 15, Jake.
Yeah, okay, it's 15.
It's 1 in 5.
All right, I got it.
Or
it's
6.
Good. It works.
Well, you just get rid of the slash, and it's like the hand, you know?
Right.
It's
116?
I get it. It's
or 115?
flawless logic.
It's flawless logic. I want to see you try to review it.
Look, I'm mainly afraid of Josh Gad. I don't want him to kill me.
Right.
But this movie, I think part of me is taking my anger out on Cats as well. That these kind of movies exist and that a scene like Feeding Time can exist is such an egregious sin against mankind. I want to give it a 0, but I think I'm going to get it a 3. I'm going to give it some points.
That's very generous.
Just so Josh Gad won't be fully mad at me.
Well, you see, I'm like I said, I'm agnostic. I don't care.
I also fear him, but I'm not as generous as you. I'm going to give it a 2.
2. Okay.
And
also,
one up each other.
Judi Dench is in this, and she's another part of
I forgot she was in it.
Yeah. Which I don't think is necessarily her fault, but she's become like the albatross around the neck of movies.
Okay, so it's a 6.6 repeating, so 666.
The devil's number.
So we gave it a 666. Repeating is in a devil's costume this time. This is our lowest score so far. Really, that really should have gone to Cats, but due to Luke being broken that one time, we had to restart him like 5 times. It was rough.
All you gotta do is just turn me on and off and then give me a good slap to the side.
Look, in reality, the Catch review, that 100 should be a 0 in reality. It's just he broke.
Right.
It's not a true 100.
I made an integer overflow joke.
Wow, we did really good. Artemis Fowl from the critics has a 9%.
Oh my
And
goodness.
a 20 from the audience.
Oh
What's wrong
my.
with the audience?
They couldn't even crack 50 in the audience. And the audience, as we've seen, is
Very generous.
forgiving to the point of idiocy.
Yeah,
So
but the critics gave it 9%.
9%. I saw it at 10 earlier. It's dropped.
That's
We're in
one of
single
the
digits.
worst
Yeah.
ratings. What is the lowest rating on Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, you can get a 0, and I've seen 0s before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But-
because it's an aggregate. If you get absolutely no positive,
Right.
Yeah. Good going on both sides because 20% for audience is extremely low. We've seen the kind of trash that gets like 60s and 70s. So.
Even 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
I think we could probably give the VIP to everyone.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Good showing all around, I would say.
Yay.
We had the best score because we trashed the whole thing. So
And I think we should put Feeding Time in the box of shame.
I'm divided because I hate that scene, but I also love Feeding Time.
Well, just put Feeding Time visuals in the box of shame.
Okay, I hate that scene, but
That also
I'll
includes.
put the Feeding Time scene.
if anything, Seth should probably go in the box of shame for his
Seth.
poor display.
Oh yeah, was he the one who did that real?
Yeah, it's either he's a hero teen or whatever, or he's a nothing.
I would say Seth, and then that last review
Dan
about
T.
Dan T.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they belong in the box of shame for their horrible views on movies. Terrible.
Yeah, so VIP is Timothy, Hagrid 2, and everyone involved with reviewing today.
Who gave it a low score?
Yeah, who gave it a low score. I meant like the audience and the critics this time, and us. Box of Shame, it's the Feeding Time scene. We love the Feeding Time catchphrase, but the scene
and we like Josh Gad.
Yeah, the scene is...
Particularly the waste expulsion.
Yeah, it's one of the
it's
worst
terrible.
things I've seen, and the jaw effect is hideous. I don't know if I love Josh Gad, but I fear him. He's a cruel god. And also Seth and Dan T, as we just stated. So That has been Much Review About Nothing's review of Artemis Fowl 2020.
I think Dan T needs to be in the circle of hell, to be honest.
No, he doesn't go that far. That's
I think he needs to be in an inferno.
That's reserved for special people. Very special people.
Once again, I am making a joke. Dan T's Inferno.
See, Luke works at such a high level that we don't see it all the time.
I thought it was clever.
Well, the problem is me and Jake get so caught up in the minutia of like propelling the podcast forward that a lot of times I've totally blown past great jokes Luke has made. So I just want to acknowledge that while editing, I have heard a lot of Luke's great jokes and acknowledge them then. So I'm sorry, audience, I'm ever just like totally blanked.
The unsung hero.
Yeah, Luke elevates the humor, even if I don't realize it.
And sometimes even when I don't realize it.
So thank you for listening to Dan T's Inferno. You can get in contact with us on Twitter at MuchReviewAN, and you can email us. And please give to our Patreon if you have some spare money laying around. It's patreon.com/MRAN. That's Men Right Activists Now.
we put a lot of content up there. There's some free stuff, so there's always going to be stuff going on to the Patreon just constantly. There's going to be, we have a lot of fun stuff in the works, I would say.
We have a regular bonus, baffling bonuses, which can be anything.
Yeah.
And then a part of that, we have like 2 almost mini podcasts. We have Professor Jake Presents, where Jake talks about a really obscure esoteric subject and enlightens us on it. Then we have Musical Madness, where we take a deep dive into a track or a song that's caught our attention.
Well, the thing is that we chose a good name because it's open to a lot of branding.
Yeah,
but it's just Much Review. As long as we review something, we don't have to sit there and have to rebrand and put subtitles. It's just but
that time we're actually engaging with the media we're talking about.
That's what it actually looks like.
So drop by the Patreon because, as we mentioned, there's 2 episodes. One of Professor Jake Presents and Musical Madness. 2 are free. The first episode of both. And we're gonna upload another episode of Musical Madness soon. That one you'll have to pay for, but yeah, check it out if you get a chance.
And we want to thank our patron, Mike Edgeford, always.
Mike Edgeford.
Wait, what is his name? Mike Edgeford. Where's Mike Edgeford come from?
You were doing like Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I don't know why I want to say Mike Edgeford so much.
Mike Edgeford?
I forgot we had a nickname for Chiwetel. I forget it.
Oh my goodness.
It was like Weasel or Weeble.
I've been doing that a lot recently, just like I called Ian McGregor. I don't know why. It's
it's Ewan McGregor, so it's very similar.
Yeah.
And I think we had watched Dr. Sleep recently, so that's
I think I was reading the comments and someone actually for some reason mentioned Ewan McGregor.
Oh, they got it wrong.
Yeah. So Mike Urbanchop. Sorry, Mike.
I guess it's just a morphogenic field at work now.
All right. Well, on behalf of Josh Gott and James Corden and Judi Dench and Chiwetel Ejiofor and Ian McKellen, we want to thank you for listening to Much Review About Nothing. I've been your host, Billy Greer.
I've been Jake Greer.
I've been Luke.
We'll talk at you later. Bye.
Bye.